Let's review some keynotes you have learned during the coding of the user authentication functionalities. Firstly, we can create a security configuration class by extending the web security configurer adapter defined by Spring Security API and override one or more configure methods. And by default, authentication is required if the Spring Security API library is present in the project's class path. And the default login page generated by Spring Security is good enough for quick test only. And most of the time, we need to code our custom login page. And we should show the Spring generated error message in the custom login page using the attribute Spring Security last exception. This attribute is stored in the session when an error occurs during the authentication process. And note that every post request must include the underscore CSRF token in order to prevent the cross-site request forgery or CSRF attacks. And we can ignore authentication for static resources such as images, CSS, and JavaScript. And logout request must be sent in HTTP post request. So as you have seen, it's a little bit tricky to implement the logout with a hyperlink. And we create a class of type user details defined by Spring Security API to represent the currently logged in user. And we can use the annotation authentication principle to get the user details object representing the authenticated user. Here's an example: authentication principle, and then followed by the class name and then the variable name. And a Java web application, we create a default cookie named JSessionID to uniquely identify a user session, and this cookie will expire when the session ends. And Spring Security provides two implementations of a Remember Me function. The first one is hash-based token using cookies only, and the second one is persistent token using cookies and database. And the default lifetime of the Remember Me cookie is 14 days, but we can change this expiration time in the Spring Security configuration class. And note that the Spring Security filter intercepts all the requests coming to the application in order to process authentication.